What's going on, guys? Dr. Andrew Fix back here for another episode on the code. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know you hear me say that before if you've been a regular listener to this podcast, in which case, man, really appreciate you for spending your time with us, however you're consuming this. And if this happens to be the first episode that you are listening to, man, I hope you find something of value here. Hopefully, it gives you some ideas and just takes that one extra step towards helping you optimize your health and human performance, because that's what we're all about on the code. And today I'm excited to get a little bit vulnerable with you guys and share something that I have probably struggled with for a long time. I definitely have become more aware of it recently, and I'm going to tell you some things that have been working for me on the topic of prioritizing and staying focused on things. And I'd be willing to bet it could help some of you too. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So what we're going to talk about is avoiding multitasking, right? Avoiding multitasking in order to be more productive. And this is something that I know so many people struggle with. So many jobs are challenged by this, right? So many jobs have this nature to them where there is constant interruption, constant multitasking that has to take place. Think, for example, like in our office at Physio Room or any other healthcare office for that matter. Think of that like front desk, secretarial, administrative type of role, whoever that individual is, in the nature of what they have to do in their job. Right. They have to answer the phone. They have to schedule. They're supposed to greet everyone that's coming in the door. They're interrupted by emails and notifications and things that are going off throughout the day. And then they have verifications to run, authorizations, insurance-based things, like whatever that might be. They have a lot of tasks that they have to do, and they're constantly being interrupted throughout the day when they're trying to do those things. And if you've talked to anyone who's ever held or spent time in one of those positions, you know how challenging that can be and how distracting it is to work in that type of role and still feel productive to get the things done that you need to do throughout the day. Okay. So let's rewind a little bit and talk about, what I've been noticing recently. And, if you were to look at my screen right now on the computer, you'd see that I have a bunch of tabs open, right? I'm working on this and I'm working on that. And I have a lot of different tabs of things that I'm using throughout the day. And I know many other people are similar, or I've seen other people's computers, right? And they have 15, 20 tabs open, things that they're bouncing back and forth between. And I caught myself the other day up here in the office, and I was working on something. And then I noticed, okay, I have this, Apple Mac computer. I had a text message come in. So then I respond to the text message, and then I have an email come in. So then I respond to the email, and I'm trying to work on one thing, but instead I end up hopping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between many different smaller tasks. And it takes me so much longer to get that one priority or that one project done that I was focusing on. Okay. Hence the definition of multitasking. And, a lot of times people think multitasking is productive, right? It means I can get more done in less time. However, what we see in the research is that though you're doing more things, your attention is actually divided between those things. So though you feel like you might be getting more done, you're actually doing more things at a subpar level or a suboptimal level because your attention is divided on these multitasks. Okay. When we multitask, you are much more likely to make mistakes, have to go back and reread or rework things that you already started to do, but then your attention got pulled away to something else. And the truth of the matter is, if you've read any books or articles or research studies on the topic of multitasking, you know that we're more productive when we don't do it. But that doesn't make it easy to not do it in the world that we live in now, where everything is right there at our fingertips. We have our phone, we have our computer, and notifications are going off, pinging us and, stealing our attention away from the thing that we were trying to focus on. This could be another person that you're trying to focus on in a conversation, and then your watch buzzes and notifies you of some relatively meaningless, thing. Oh, I hit my calorie goal for the day or whatever that might be. But it took your attention away from that conversation you were having that you were trying to be present in. Okay. So there are a couple really good books on this. I have read Atomic Habits. That talks a little bit about this, I believe, with James Clear. And then there's another book called The Power of Habit that has a lot in common with Atomic Habits. And then there's just, if you hopped on the internet and you looked up multitasking or stop multitasking to be more productive, you'll find a lot of articles and resources on this very topic. So I encourage you to do that if you want to gather some more information. But let me tell you what's been working for me, and see if you can't find some success with these same things. Okay. So one thing that I've tried to do is turn on the do not, just like I have while I'm on this podcast, turn on the do not disturb setting on my phone or on my computer, right? Because they're sort of synced together so that I can focus on the things that I want to focus on without being interrupted by phone calls, by text messages, that quite frankly, I can probably just address those things a little bit later. They probably don't need to be addressed right this second while I'm trying to focus on getting a project done or getting some sort of task done that I was focused on. In addition, I am a big list person, and I'll have this big to-do list going through my brain or in a notebook. But I don't necessarily have those things when they come to mind and I write the things down on my to-do list. Those things aren't necessarily in priority order, right? Some of those things might not need to be done for a week or two. Some of those things might be a little bit more urgent, whether it's for a client or whether it's for something for work or just, something for me. And when I sit down to do some work and I look at my to-do list, what I like to do is put it in priority order. Let me focus on the things that need to get done right now and not worry quite as much about doing little meaningless tasks. And maybe I shouldn't say meaningless, but like little tasks that are busy work that can be pushed off to later, and I can still get them done and they're just as good. But let me get the things done right now that need to be done right now and give those things the attention that they deserve. And that might sound easy, but I tell you, it's easier said than done to stay focused on the task at hand and not get pulled away by the little distractions. Okay. So one thing that has been linked to productivity is having your workspace set up in a neat, orderly fashion. Science shows that when you are in a messy environment, your brain is in the same scenario, right? It's cluttered. You don't have things organized. You can't focus on what you're trying to do because there's just so much stuff going on around you. So if you don't already have a desk space or a workspace that you think is nice and tidy, I would encourage you to do that because it's only going to make you more productive when you actually sit down to get some things done. Okay. What else? What else have I been doing? Oh, what's been working for me is specifically scheduling into my calendar the times that I need to do certain things, whether that's administrative tasks, whether that's marketing related tasks, whether that's a podcast like this, or quite frankly, whether it's other things that I want to do and need to do in order to keep me feeling how I want to feel, such as working out. If I don't schedule in my workout times, man, the likelihood that they don't happen significantly goes up. So you could look at my calendar and you'll see that 4 or 5 days out of the week, I have specific workout times blocked in there with a little buffer to eat some lunch or eat a meal afterwards. And that makes sure that those things happen, right? And I really, really try not to schedule over those things. And if I have to, for some particular reason, I trade it with something else. Like I want to keep that block in there somewhere else in the day so that it's still scheduled in. And what I've noticed for myself is when I have a lot of different things that I need to do, and I'm switching between different types of tasks, that having things on the schedule prioritized for me to do, man, that really helps me make sure that they actually get done. So I would encourage the same for you. I would schedule time to do the things that you need to do, as simple as that might be, right? You need to work on this particular project. It has to be done by Friday. Somewhere during the week, schedule a time for you to work on it. as opposed to just banking on the fact that you're going to find a way to get it done before the deadline comes up, right? Put it on the calendar. It's a priority for you. And then something else that's been working for me is, focusing on, I know this is kind of obvious, but focusing on one task at a time. So like, say, for example, I've prioritized my things and I have a bunch of emails that I need to do. And then I have podcast things. And then I have client notes to write, documentation for our clients. And then maybe I have some sort of website project to work on. Well, after I put them in priority order, literally close all the additional tabs of the things that I'm not working on and just have the one up that I am working on. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, shoot, if I close all those tabs, I'm going to lose my spots, right? I'm going to lose where I'm at. So what I would encourage you to do is use some of the features that the computer has for you and open a new window on your screen with the one tab that you need to be working on and minimize the other one so that it's not sitting right there distracting you. You can't see the words at the top of the screen. You can't see, like, if it's a social media tab open, you can't see if somebody has started messaging you, because some of them do that and it'll distract you and you'll want to go address that thing. And then I will also separate out personal life things from work life things. And I'll try, and I'm like I said, I'm trying to get better at this. I will try to chip them off one at a time and focus down the list. And what I've noticed over the last few weeks is I am so much more productive here at home, especially when I'm trying to work on things, when I just go in order. If I address all my client notes first, and then I address all the emails, and then I address these other things, I'm able to get so much more done in the same amount of time than I used to, constantly flipping back and forth from one thing to another and getting constantly distracted and interrupted along the way. Now let's talk about taking breaks, because what we tell clients all the time in our office at Physio Room, what we know is true is sitting at a desk for hours and hours a day is just not good for us, right? It's not good for our bodies. It's not good for our muscles, our joints, our other tissues. It's not good for our mind, right? We need little breaks to help recharge ourselves. Of course, what supersedes this, or is as equally important, if not more, is getting an adequate night's sleep. So I would encourage you to focus there first. If you're really having a hard time focusing throughout the day, if you're not getting a good night's sleep, let's start there and see what we can help you with from a sleep hygiene standpoint. However, when you're working throughout the day, what I like to do is I'll put my priority list in order. And then as soon as I finish one task, I mean, unless that thing only took me like 10 minutes or something, but say it took a half an hour, I'll check that one item off the list, and then I'll take a very brief break, whether that's getting up to go use the restroom, running downstairs to go, grab a snack or refill my water, or even taking a quick lap around the block or something. Just taking some sort of a quick break to let your mind and body kind of rest and recharge. Use those breaks to get a little bit of movement going. What sometimes some of the coaches we work with and our providers will call a movement snack, can just help you to, reduce your stress and recharge a little bit to stay focused on the things you're trying to get done. Now, what you also could do during that break is you can use that time to, check your phone, check this or that to see if any urgent matters came in. But what I would really try to encourage you not to do is get sucked into the vortex, right? Try not to get sucked into the scrolling and the just being distracted, where all of a sudden you intended to take a 10-minute break. And now that turned into 30 minutes because you just got wrapped up in stuff that wasn't helping you get any of the items on your list done. Okay. But man, like I said, I hope that this episode is beneficial for you guys on why multitasking is not good for our productivity, and how if we can stop doing it, it will actually make you more effective getting the things done. So I know multitasking may appear to be an effective technique that you can try to do more in less time, but it actually lowers your productivity, raises your stress level, and you don't get the things done that you need to. And then that just negatively snowballs on itself. If you set priorities, remove the distractions, plan and schedule your time, and then take little breaks while you're going through things, that's going to help you so much more, get so much more done. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys do with all the additional time that you build for yourselves by staying focused on those priorities. So thank you again for your time tuning into this episode. Hopefully you found something useful, and we'll catch you on another episode in the future on the code. If you've not already done so, we're trying to get to 200 5-star reviews on this podcast. So whatever platform you're using, if you could be so kind as to hop on there, leave a review, maybe ask a question or two, and just really, really appreciate that. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.